Hey folks, wanted to give you a quick double recap here from a couple 70.3s I've done this season, video style here. So, started off my season with Western Massachusetts 70.3. Did not go, well, it went about actually as planned, to be perfectly honest, but I did not finish. So, leading into the race, fitness-wise, feeling really good, but I did have a couple training sessions where when I would bike pretty hard and then try to run off the bike, my hip, what's been a challenge for me for many years, was really acting up, kind of never like anything I've experienced with it before, and, couldn't really figure out what was going on. I was trying to do PT, different extra stretches, all kinds of stuff, and just kind of went into race day hoping that it wouldn't happen, but got through. The swim was great. It was a downriver swim. I do think overall it was a bit long, so with the extra distance, but with the current, I think I swam 28 and change, which was nice coming out. Super long transitions in that race here, but came out of the water and did attempt to do the bottle in the jersey for the bike. So dropped the bottle down into here, which I had tried in training, and supposed to have some really good aerodynamic advantages, but worked great in training. But when I tried to run with that bottle, my race jersey actually, it's a one piece, but there is a hole here, so the bottle ended up slipping down through, so I had to pick that up and then carry it it dropped right out pretty quickly on the start of the transition. I had to run all the way with that in my hand, that long transition, hopped on the bike with it in one hand and had to finagle trying to get it back down into my shirt, and definitely felt like it was amateur hour as I was getting out on the bike here. So that was probably the most noteworthy thing from the race for me. But got out on the bike and was feeling pretty good. Was pushing around 300 watts, which was my goal. Had a decent amount of people around me, and ultimately, I can't say I was a huge fan of that course. The road qualities were relatively low, and had some challenges with some drafting, and even had somebody come up to me and said, "Are you, Colin Cook?" And oh, my coach said if I saw you to just hang on to you as long as I could. And he took that quite literally, and him and about a pack of 5-6 guys ended up following me quite closely for a good 25-30 miles, I would say, on the bike. So that was pretty frustrating. To be fair, I wasn't really vocal like I normally am. I kept kind of looking back, and there was one guy that would come up and pass me for like 30 seconds, just enough to allow me to get back, and then I'd have to pass him again. So hopefully those dynamics will change, and it would have been awesome if we could have worked together and played clean, but that didn't happen. But ended up with a 222 bike split, something like that on that course. Normalized power was right around 290, 295, something like that. So I was happy with that, but as soon as I got off the bike, I could tell that the hip was not in a great spot. So I tried, and I went out there, and within the first mile, it was starting to give me the challenges that it had in training. And I tried stopping a few times, trying to stretch it out, which would relieve it for maybe 20, 30 seconds, and then it would kind of come right back. And even the first mile, it was, I think I ran like a 6:20 or something like that should have been running faster, and just knew that things weren't going well. So I ended up kind of trying to sludge through a little bit, but after doing basically one loop of the course, I decided to pull out, which was super frustrating. But knowing I had another race in 2 weeks and not wanting to do any additional damage to my hip, I figured that was the best call for me. So nothing like a DNF, and it's always tough to swallow, but you got to think big picture and make sure you're not doing any more damage. So that was Western Mass 70.3. Which it leads into Westfriesland 70.3, which was in the Netherlands, that I did 2 weeks later. That trip was more focused on going out to get my new bike with my new sponsor partnership with Coup Cycle, which is based out of the Netherlands. So we had this trip planned for a while and kind of aligned it so I could go meet them and do some testing and fitting and things with them for a few days, and then race it that weekend. So hadn't done, I mean, outside of racing in Canada and I guess Costa Rica once, hadn't really ever done any international racing, and especially any in Europe. But some long travel, not much sleep on the red eye over there, and a little bit interesting with some dynamics. They had another event they were supporting the day that I got there, so didn't spend as much time with them originally as I had planned, but got some tremendous support, and really had an amazing time with the Coup cycling team, and am absolutely impressed and super happy with the bike here. So, but as far as the race itself, it went really well. The race was delayed a good half an hour prior, which was pretty frustrating. Had the wetsuits on, it was already pretty hot, and so I didn't have any water. I'd finished my water thinking that the race was going to start pretty quickly, and then they just kept delaying, and so I was thirsty heading into the race, which I can't remember the last time that's ever happened, and I was pretty nervous to already be dehydrated heading into the race. But as soon as I got in the water, it felt good. Really liked the swim course. It was a little, had a decent amount of turns, and we did kind of go through, it stayed local to this port, so we were like swimming by these boats, these docked boats and stuff, but it was pretty cool, and came out at right around 29 minutes or 29:01, which I was very happy about, and then got out on the bike, and super flat bike course, really fast overall, and quite beautiful. A lot of it was right along the coast. The only complaint I do have is there was a lot of turns, and I don't think they were actually volunteers. I think they were like city workers, but there was people in vests that were at each one of the turns, and like they would just stand there. They literally like wouldn't point which direction to go and things. So there was actually 3 times throughout the bike that I either missed the turn or had to like go up on the sidewalk, or it was extra confusing because there's so many amazing bike paths around there, and a lot of the bike course did take place on the bike paths, but there was also some times we were on the road, so it was like unclear whether we were supposed to be staying on the road excuse me, or we were supposed to get on the bike path at some section. So yeah, had still my fastest 70.3 bike split ever. Was 2:12, I think, right around there. So yeah, was very happy again. Power excuse me, was right around 290, I think, again. So similar power, and a nice pace, and headed out onto the run. Still a bit nervous, but was feeling encouraged by getting the new bike and having my bike fit redone, and ended up feeling 1,000 times better than I did coming off the bike at Western Mass 70.3, and had a great run. So ended up, I think the run was a little bit long. I was kind of shooting to go sub 120. Didn't end up doing that. I think I ran 122 and change, which was not ideal, but I was good with, and ended up winning my age group, and with a PR overall, 4:08 and change. So finally broke 4:10, which was awesome, and yeah, got the age group win and 5th overall, which was at that point I was really just ecstatic to finish with all the hip issues and doubts I had going into that race and with everything that had happened with the season so far. So yeah, it was a really incredible experience. Again, I had a great time with the Coup Cycle people, and they took really good care of me, and spent a lot of time with them, and super excited about that relationship. So yeah, back on track, and feeling much better about things moving forward here. So I guess the biggest note on that is, even though I had very much success with my bike and minimal issues, I always kind of battle a little bit with the hip with cycling, but I didn't change my fit at all from last year, and was raced multiple Ironmans with no problem. And this year, with that same fitting, it was really bothering me. So always consider that bike fit, and making sure that's dialed in is super important. And yeah, on to the next one here. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.